Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello, and welcome to a special edition of Islands in the League Live, presented by DraftKings. This is a free agency show, and we're going to talk about some of the deals and some of the teams that I think have maybe stood out. Wouldn't really call anything shocking to this point. I want to start, though, with Damian Lillard and James Harden, because I said this on air when I did the draft. I got the sense that draft night was the starting point of whether or not Dame was going to be on the team next season, or whether that trade request was coming soon. Because my understanding, going all the way back to March when the Blazers shut him down, was that they were trying to secure a top 5 pick, hoping to land in the top 3. They were going to try to use that pick to get a player. Now, whether they dangled that pick or not, or whether they felt like Scoot Henderson was the guy, that doesn't matter. The reality is they didn't trade the pick. They didn't go get Mikal Bridges. They didn't go get someone with that pick. And then, you go into free agency, and look, there's not a lot that they could do in terms of what free agent fit in Portland, right? There wasn't a great fit out there to add a big wing like a Jimmy Butler, right? So they re-signed Jeremy Grant. No problem with that. It's a lot of money. Jeremy Grant's a good player. It's a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. So now we're in a position where Damian Lillard has requested a trade. And I find this situation so fascinating. I really do. Because on the one hand, Dame has been loyal, and Dame has tried his best to be a winner, build a winner, all of that stuff. He's represented the city, the franchise, in an excellent way for a decade plus. So in some sense, you would hope that the Blazers, it's not doing him a favor, but they would do right by Dame and get him to one of his preferred destinations. But the reality is, it's very unlikely that one of his preferred destination provides the best deal. And so you have to act in the interest of the franchise, in the interest of what is best for the franchise. So they're stuck in this little bit of a conundrum, because I think as human beings, right, you want to honor a guy like Dame's request. You do. Dame has done nothing wrong. He's done everything right. But on the other hand, you have to go out and seek the best deal. And does that mean Miami or Brooklyn will have the best deal? Maybe. But I would venture to guess there are some teams that could put together a better trade package than those teams. So I find that fascinating. Although Joe Cronin did say, our goal is to win. We're going to do what's best for the team in pursuit of that goal. So maybe that does mean they go out and search the best package possible. And I know there's been reports of other teams, Spurs or one team mentioned that Dame has a lot of respect for how they've done things. And then with Harden, I was a little surprised. I thought some of the Houston buzz that had been going on for months, it felt like sort of an attempt to get a bidding war with Philly so he could get that full max from Philly. Whether Philly ever offered that or not, now he's in a position where he's going to go try to get traded. And I've heard it's the Clippers, right? So we've all kind of heard that. And that's another fascinating trade, because yes, James Harden going to the Clippers, and if you have a healthy Paul George and you have a healthy Kawhi Leonard, he's a player that they have not had in LA. They have not had that facilitator. They have not had that setup guy that James is. But on the other hand, if you're Philly and you have Joel Embiid, the MVP, one of the best players in the world, in his prime, you have a championship window. You have a championship window because Joel is that good. And look, I get some of the playoff struggles let's acknowledge that a lot of times it's because he's injured and he's playing through stuff. A healthy Joel Embiid is one of the best players in the world, if not at times the best player in the world. That's a fact. You have a chance to win with him. So it's not just about honoring James' request to get traded. It's about getting pieces back for the now. It's not about the future assets. It's getting back pieces for the now. So those two situations, just fascinating to me. Team I've given a lot of grief towards over the last probably 6 months has been the Houston Rockets. Culturally, I didn't like a lot of the stuff that has happened over the last couple years. They bring in Ime Udoka, and I've loved, truthfully, I've loved what they've done in free agency. You guys know I'm a big Fred VanVleet guy. A lot of money for Fred, 3-year max. But I think culturally, he's going to help so much. I think culturally, Jeff Green on a 1-year, $6 million deal, I think he's going to help. Then they bring in Jock Landale on a 4-year, $32 million deal. First year is guaranteed. The rest aren't. They drafted Amen Thompson. They drafted Cam Whitmore, which we talked about last week. You get a top 5 talent in the draft at 20. You've got all those young players that have a lot of talent. As you guys know, I'm particularly high on Tari Eason. I'm particularly high on Şengün. So now all of a sudden you have a lot of pieces, young pieces. You have good players. And then on top of that, you go out and you get Dillon Brooks. And I want to say one thing about Dillon Brooks, because I said this when that report came out. I thought it was bullshit. Everybody spent a month clowning this guy. They clowned him during the Lakers series. They clowned him afterwards. They clowned him after the report came out. I saw all the memes on Twitter and IG about him needing to learn Mandarin because he was going to go play in China. Motherfucker just signed for $80 million. Sorry for the language, but he just signed for $80 million. He's a good player, valuable player. Said it many times. I'll say it again. I wanted Dillon Brooks on my team. I want a disruptor. I want a guy that's a pest. And I want a guy that can defend at his level. He's an all defensive type player. You need those guys on your team. All of a sudden, Houston is a really, really interesting team going into next season. Couple other ones I just want to talk about real quick. Bruce Brown going to the Indiana Pacers. Does that hurt the Nuggets? Yeah, it probably does. I found his minutes and his versatility, both in the regular season and in their championship run, to be incredibly valuable for that team. I think they will miss him. Does that mean they don't have a chance to win a championship? No, it doesn't mean that. They have Jokic. They have Jamal Murray. They have talent. But guys like Bruce Brown, the Alfreds of the world, they matter. So Indiana addressing the defensive issues with their team. They were, I think, 27th in the league last year. Rick Carlisle's an offensive genius. I love how they play basketball. You get a healthy Tyrese Halliburton. They get Jarris Walker. They get Ben Shepherd in the draft. You now bring in Bruce Brown. I love that signing. And again, we joked about this last week, but maybe somebody gets a JJ Redick Philadelphia 1-year, $23 million deal and happened to be Bruce Brown this year. The Cavs, love what the Cavs did. We discussed the Cavs a number of times throughout the year last year. And the point that always kept coming up was they need more shooting. They need a fifth guy that fits with their core 4 guys, with Garland, Mitchell, Jared Allen, and Evan Mobley. And Max Strus absolutely does. George Niang, great addition as well. So you get both those guys. You bring back Karis LeVert. That team is going to be better this season. And they were pretty darn good last year. Brian Windhorst jokes, that team, he said all season, that team on a spreadsheet is a championship contender. All of a sudden now bringing in these pieces with Strus and Niang, you got the big one last year when you brought in Donovan Mitchell. You need to get better on the margins, and they absolutely did that. So I love that for them. A couple other teams I want to point out that kind of just retained their guys and kept the window open were the Bucks. Maybe a slight overpay for Middleton, and Brook Lopez coming back after his best year of his career. So you now have extended your championship window. It's open still. You got Giannis, you got Drew. You're good to go. I thought it was important they brought those guys back. And then with the Lakers bringing back Austin Reeves, D'Angelo Russell, Hachimura, and then you add Gabe Vincent, you add Taurean Prince. You got more depth at the guard position. Gabe was awesome in the playoffs. So I like what the Lakers did. I think they're going to be one of the best teams in the West next season. And then the last one that I just wanted to kind of say, like, I love this. I love this signing is Dante DiVincenzo for the Knicks. With Strus sort of being off the table, I thought Strus would be a great fit with the Knicks too, because they need more shooting. DiVincenzo is a guy that shot the ball really well last year, hard-nosed defender. I like that addition for them. It's not a massive name for New York Knicks fans, but given where they are with the salary cap and what they had available to go out in the market and offer players, love that signing for the New York Knicks. Plus, the Villanova guys, they get reunited once again, which is awesome. Then we had a bunch of extensions: LaMelo Ball, Tyrese Halliburton getting the designated supermax if they make All NBA next year. Sabonis with the renegotiate and extension, Jordan Clarkson with the renegotiate extension. Love all those deals. And then the last guy is Desmond Bane. And a lot of people had a little bit of a sticker shock with Desmond Bane. I'm not surprised at all that he got the max contract. Now, he didn't get the designated max contract with the All NBA incentive, which I think actually helps Memphis, because with the way the games, the minimum games requirement are next year, and the addition of Marcus Smart, Desmond Bane is going to have a monster year to start the season. This is a guy that continues to get better every year, showed so much off the bounce at times last year, particularly early in the season, came back from injury, particularly late in the season. Just an awesome, awesome shooting guard, and defends, and he competes. Worth every penny. Desmond Bane, worth every penny. So I love that. Congrats to our boy Tyrese Halliburton. Excited for him. And then the last thing I just want to talk about real quick. I told Jason that I would try to keep this part to a minimum today, but I just got back yesterday from Bandon Dunes. For those that don't know, Bandon Dunes is a golf resort. It's a public golf resort on the coast of Oregon in the middle of nowhere. And there's 5 top 100 courses, 3 of which are consistently rated in the top 50 in the country. It is link style golf right on the ocean. I booked this trip 18 months ago. 18 months ago. That's the demand for this place. I had such high expectations. My expectations were exceeded. It was the best 3 days of golf of my life. It was just incredibly beautiful. Took a group of friends. Spencer Hawes, former teammate, came on the trip, came down from Seattle. It was just spectacular. I loved every minute of it. And my advice to anyone out there who's like, I don't want to hear about golf. My advice to you, if you don't play golf, that you should start playing golf, learn how to play golf, and go to Bandon Dunes, because it is a life-changing experience. And if you do play golf and you haven't been yet, again, it took 18 months. That's how long I had to book this trip out. Get on the phone tomorrow morning, call Bandon Dunes, make your golf reservation for whenever it is. Just get there. You will not be disappointed. And no, there's no commercial endorsement here. I'm that high on this place. It is absolutely spectacular. As always, thank you guys for tuning in. Another episode, Islands of the League. Thank you to our friends at DraftKings for presenting this. And we'll have some pod content for you this week on YouTube and on audio.